Well, the last 2 years have been very difficult in more ways than most people can mention. Something we should be talking about, though, is something some people are afraid or uncomfortable or just really don't know how to mention. We've been reminded in recent weeks that many of our young people are not okay. Several teenagers have passed in recent weeks from suicide. And a tragedy like that touches more people than maybe you realize. The Nampa community, for example, continues to grieve 3 students in a short amount of time. Community and mental health leaders say now is a pivotal time for real talk about mental health and youth suicides. At 6 o'clock tonight, in just about an hour, the Brandt Center at NNU will be having an urgent community conversation, an eye-opening one, with parents about youth mental health, including anxiety, depression, and suicide. Ahead of the event tonight, Joe Paris spoke with organizers who say it's time to have that very hard and honest communication. Talking about suicide and mental health with your teenagers can be a very intimidating task, they say. It's a talk many may feel they don't even know how to begin or how to handle all that comes with it, which is one of the objectives for tonight's event, breaking through that uncomfortable barrier.
Absolutely, 100%. And I just want to normalize the awkwardness. I'm a therapist. I study this for a living. I've been doing it for 20 years, and I've got 2 teenage daughters, and it's still awkward for me. These are hard conversations, and it's still hard, and we still have to do it. We just lean in, do it, work, put ourselves in a risky place of awkwardness and talk to our kids.
Janelle Stauffer is a licensed clinical social worker and a community advocate in Nampa. Tonight, Stauffer and a team of community leaders will host a difficult conversation at the NNU Brandt Center. The talk is entitled, Preventing a Crisis, Straight Talk on Youth Mental Health and Suicide. The event comes after several teen suicides in Nampa and the Treasure Valley in recent weeks.
There were a handful of us that decided we needed to have this conversation after we saw a series of youth suicides in Nampa. We decided we needed to bring our adults together and begin creating a safety net much higher up the river so we can prevent any other youth deaths in Nampa.
In the event description, something that caught our eye was that this was going to be an adult conversation. What do you guys mean by that? Because suicide is a very difficult thing to talk about, and these are very challenging topics that can be very uncomfortable for some people.
Yeah, that's right. It is very important to us that this is an adult-only conversation for safety purposes. The content that we are talking about is very sensitive, and our community has just experienced the loss of 3 of our youth. And there are things that we would talk very candidly with adults about that we wouldn't talk to children about. And that's why we don't want children to be part of this, but we also want our adults to understand the concerns, but understand the hope as well.
What advice do you have for parents out there that are struggling to come up with ideas of how to talk to their kids or kids in their neighborhood about this?
Yeah, the best advice I can give is to just lean into the awkwardness and the hardness of it and give it a try. I've sat with so many teens who have experienced these conversations from parents, and it has been extremely positive. When kids feel as though people are reaching into the dark places, oh man, they're just not alone anymore. So to try that. The other thing I would really encourage is to really encourage other positive relationships in your kid's life. There will be things that, because of their the developmental tasks of adolescence, that they will find much easier talking to other people about, and that should be an okay thing to do. Another thing that would be really important for parents is to talk about their own mental health with their children and their own struggles, so that it's not as awkward to do on their own.
What would you say to parents or, I guess community mentors that they want to get involved in this conversation, but they really feel like they don't know what they're doing?
It doesn't matter. The basics that kids need is connection, and every human is wired for that. So that is the most important thing. You absolutely are qualified to ask someone if they are struggling and to offer love and support. You do not need to know the exact right things to say. It is basically just, how are you doing? Have you thought about hurting yourself recently? That's kind of how simple it goes.
And those are conversations that are very difficult to have, and they are very uncomfortable, but they are crucial. And if you or somebody you know is going through a tough time and they need somebody to talk to, there is a lot of great resources in our community. One of them, the Idaho Suicide Prevention Hotline. The phone number and text line are on your screen right now. You can see there. There's also a chat portal on their website at but on their website for the Idaho Suicide Prevention Hotline, which is idahosuicidepreventionhotline.org, you can chat in real time, 24 hours a day with someone if you don't want to call or text. Again, this line is not just for somebody in need. It's for a person who is concerned about someone or looking to get more resources to have a conversation with someone they know is in trouble.